continuing the conversation from yesterday, which was all about how do you increase your integrity. I've been reading The Speed of Trust by Stephen M.R. Covey, and he has been giving all kinds of insights into how to increase trust and how to increase your personal integrity. And one of the things that he said was, if you want to increase your own integrity, then make and keep commitments to yourself. Now, if you know, well, you do know, streaking is all about making and keeping commitments to yourself. We ended up yesterday, it was interesting because there's a part in the book, I want to read this little part to you, that really stuck out to me. And it stuck out because I had a personal challenge myself that was like what Stephen M.R. Covey explains in the book. And what he talks about in the book, and let me just get to it here as we talk about what he was considering looking at doing, keeping covenants to yourself. Now he tells this story. He says, let's see here. He's talking about how you make sure that you keep commitments to yourself. First, don't make too many commitments. We talked a little bit about that yesterday. Second, treat a commitment you make to yourself with as much respect as you do with commitments you make to others, whether it's a commitment of time, an appointment with yourself to exercise, or read, or sleep. We're going to talk about those in just a second. Or a commitment to prioritize your energy and focus. Treat it and yourself with respect. Continuing the quote. Third, don't make commitments impulsively. I learned this lesson the hard way one time when we were having a family discussion about health. It was around New Year's, and we were deciding that we all needed to drink more water instead of soda pop. I started to really get caught up in the spirit of the improvement, and filled with bravado, but no humility, I said, I'll tell you what I am going to do. I am going to make a commitment to myself to drink nothing but water for this entire year. No soda, no juices, nothing but water. Well, that was foolish, and I lived to regret it. I kept the commitment, but it was hard. Out of the experience, I learned to be careful about making commitments and to make sure they were made out of humility and not pride. As you think through what Stephen was saying, the whole idea behind a streak is to make it laughably simple so that you can keep it alive. The consistency, the consecutiveness of the activity is more critical at this moment than the activity itself. Not saying that the activity isn't important or that it can't be impactful. It absolutely can be, needs to be aligned with who you want to be. What happened with me is something similar to the situation that Stephen was explaining. In the streaking app, you can follow along and see other people streak. One particular streaker had a streak of not drinking Diet Coke or a diet soda. That was her streak. She wasn't going to drink any of that. Diet Coke, soda, whatever. I had been contemplating this, however, had not set a streak around it. One of the areas that we talk about in streaking is making positive streaks, not negative streaks. And what I mean by that is do streaks versus don't streaks. I am going to do this, not I'm not going to do a certain thing. So for example, the negative streak would be I'm not going to have soda. How many days in a row can I not have soda? So what I did is I looked at it and I said, I want to set a streak, but I don't want to have it be something that I don't want to do. I want to have it something that I do want to do. So the streak is choose any other beverage than soda on a daily basis. So for me, that was anything water, juice. I could have any of those things, unlike Stephen Covey that was like, I'm going to have only water. However, what I did is set a streak to keep that alive so that every day I was looking at and considering what I was drinking. I was being intentional and deliberate on what I chose to drink. I have kept that streak alive now, and and it was a learning process. I kept the streak alive for 75 days, and then I broke it because I had a root beer float, and I totally forgot that root beer is a soda. And so I chose to have the root beer float, therefore broke the streak. Since I started that streak again, though, I have had that streak alive now as I look at it. I keep this under my physical streaks. Choose any beverage other than soda, 421 days. 421 days. So over a year, I've done that, and I expect this to continue throughout my life. And there's a lot of reasons as to why. For me, it helps my health. It gives me a lot of benefits in regards to my heart health. That's one of the areas where I was really considering it. Unlike how difficult it was for Stephen to keep his streak alive of not having any soda for a year, and nothing, no sodas, no juices, nothing. This one has been great for me to be able to keep alive. Now, I would suggest that Stephen would have been easier had he had a streak to keep it alive. So that rather than looking at it and saying, I'm not going to do this for a year, I'm not going to do this for a year, I'm not going to do this for a year, you turn the question around and you say, how many days in a row can I do this? How long can I keep this activity alive and going? When you challenge yourself in that way and you make the streak laughably simple, now you have the opportunity to increase your integrity because you give yourself permission to win every single day. Something that Jamie said in one of our podcasts is give yourself permission to win. And how do you give yourself permission to win? By not making things so difficult. In our podcast tomorrow, I interview Talon, who is our Chief Design Officer inside of Streakin. I'm going to talk to him. You'll hear me talk to him about what type of streaks you can set. And it's a really dynamic conversation because what then we do is talk about how he has taken the principles of streaking and moved those into the design of the Streakin app. It's very fascinating the way he does it. We also talk about streaking in general and how there's actually 3 different types of streaks. I'm not going to give away what those streaks are. Listen in tomorrow. You'll really enjoy it. You'll enjoy what we have the conversation around. If you'd like to ask me any questions, feel free to do so by reaching out to me at Jeffrey, Jeffery, at thestreakingapp.com. Also, if you want to learn more about streaking, getting the book is very helpful. You can get the book at Amazon or anywhere books are sold. If you would do me a great big favor and subscribe to this podcast so that we can pass it on to even more people, that would be fantastic. Rate the book. Until we talk again, keep streaking.